Today we're going to look at creating character voices, finding them, developing them, and sort of that process. And I've got a presentation we can walk through that kind of helps me remember what not to forget, and gives you a chance to see things on screen. Different people learn different ways. Some learn by hearing, by seeing, by doing, and this gets us, several of those boxes checked, as it were. So I'm going to try that, sharing my screen here. Let's see if I can do that. And Natalie's going to, if you don't mind, Natalie, keep an eye on the chat box because I may not be able to split my mind too much like that. Let's see. So sharing the screen and presentation. There we go. All right. Are you seeing that now?
No, I'm not seeing it right now.
All right. Let's figure that out. How about now?
Okay. Yep. Perfect.
Okay. Fantastic. Technology is great, but sometimes it comes with its own set of challenges. So we will roll with it. As they say, the show must go on. All right. So we're talking today about finding and creating character voices. So there's my contact information. If you want to grab that, that's cool. That should come up later. And you can reach out to me afterwards. That is all good. We've got two different screens here. Okay, very good. All right, so let us. I'm sorry, what is going on here? All righty, let's try that again. Good times. It is not cooperating.
Ian, you are on the last slide of your presentation. You have to go back to the beginning.
Is that what it is? Okay, thank you very much. I have the first, the same slide. Let us, that's the second slide. Maybe we're in good shape now. Okay, thanks for the tip, whoever that was. I got the voice, but not the person. Okay, here we go. So we're going to look at a couple of things today. Interpretation, sort of inspiration in that creativity mode. Preparing, maintaining a character voice once you find it. Some tips that might be useful, and then an exercise at the end. So everybody be sure to stick around for that. We'll have a lot of fun there. Just a couple of disclaimers. These are ideas that I've come up with and concepts and things that coaches have shared with me over time. There are lots of other ways. This is just one way, or some ways. The artists have kindly loaned me their artwork to use here. Isabel is one of those artists, so thank you very much. And the artwork is proprietary, so please don't grab and share that out. The rights are reserved to the authors and so forth, artists and so forth. And finally, I hope you enjoy what we do today and learn something. If you're a voice actor, great. If you're not, if you're in animation or video games or whatever part of creativity that is your bailiwick, I hope this helps give you some insight into the process. So starting out with interpretation, inspiration. So how do we know how a character sounds? So as a voice actor, sometimes you get a script and there's a description there. Characters this age, this gender, blah, 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 anything like that. Maybe they will give you a voice reference, like a recording or a link to something that says, try to match this voice. Sometimes you'll get direction from a director or somebody on the other side of the glass, as we say, about the flavor or how quickly they want you to say something or slow down, or can you make it sound this way? It could be anything. And sometimes it's crazy things like we want high energy but laid back, and we want conversational but sell it. So you never know what you're going to get. So flexibility is important. We'll get to that a bit later. And then also there's artwork. That's kind of what we're going to focus on today, because that's more for us as the actor creating the voice based on what you see, whereas a script or description or direction from a director or somebody in that role is more directed to us rather than us coming up with it on our own. So what information can we find in the artwork for a character? So imagine, looking at Bugs Bunny or Sonic the Hedgehog for the first time and going, what does this person sound like? Or, pick your character. So you can tell a lot of things by the artwork, by the picture or by the drawing. Their posture, what are they wearing, what are they carrying, can give you a lot of information. And those are really gems of information that you can use to build a character. So here are some examples. Let's try one. So here's a guy. Looking at him, clearly he's a chef, and maybe he's French. So you make the character decision he's a French. So of course he has this French accent, hey, get out of my kitchen, you will ruin my bouillabaisse. So boom, there's his ethnicity. He's got a place he's working, and he's got a bit of a story all in one. Maybe he's Italian. Maybe he's Italian chef. Of course, I got the best pasta in all of New York City. Hey, go away from you. So maybe he's that. Little things, the way he's dressed, he's got a spoon. It says things to you. Here's a guy. What can you tell about him? Well, he's not very well nourished, probably. His clothing is not the greatest. Maybe not very well kept. Maybe he's maybe lower class. About a few p to payday, governor. Help us out, won't ya? So maybe he's maybe that just kind of threw me in that direction. He's born within the sound of the bells, as they say, and he's looking for a handout. One for you. What does that tell you? It's a female, older female. She's dressed well. Maybe she's going to church. She's dressed for church. Oh, yes, dear. After church, we'll have a big old social with banana pudding and meatloaf I made myself. So maybe that's her, So you've got a lot of freedom based on what you see. And, I don't know exactly what the artist had in mind when they drew that, but that's a possibility. Here's another one. Young, big smile, big eyes. And maybe he's just so excited. Oh boy, I got a new sword and it's magic! So he's just, wow, so fun. Maybe that's him. He's got pointed ears. He could be an elf, maybe. Halfling child, maybe Frodo turned over a sting to some younger generation. Maybe that's him as a halfling. I don't know. Here's a guy. So what does his appearance tell you? There's not a lot there to go on. He's male. He's dressed maybe business casual. So you could say perhaps he works in an office somewhere. He is on vacation somewhere. I don't know. It could be anything. But if you add something small, here's got a glass of wine. So maybe he's bringing his date a glass of wine. How you do it? To borrow from friends. Maybe he's Italian. Would you like some wine then? Here's another one. Change the wine to this envelope. So maybe he's now in an office. Hey, boss, the mail's in. Got a memo for you. Something like that. Here's another one. Maybe he's different. He's looks like an architect, perhaps. Those are maybe building plans, floor plans. Maybe they're wiring diagrams. I don't know what they are. But he could be, nope, we are not going to do anything unless it's by the book. So little things like that can sort of steer you in creating the voice. Or the personality. All right, people joining in, fantastic. Welcome, everybody. We are jumping into creating character voices. So looking at artwork. So in this case, we're looking specifically maybe at the mouth character. So what can you tell about the character from their mouth? And what they talk about their mouth shape. So maybe they have an overbite, an underbite. Maybe they have their tongue out. Maybe it's a dog, so the dog's he's got the tongue hanging out all the time. Maybe he's got a cigar. Yeah, see, got a cigar here. Yeah. Fangs like a vampire, could be that. But no, of course, I did not star in Twilight. I would never touch glitter like that. So perhaps it's something like that. Jowls, maybe. Maybe it's a big dog with big. I had a director the other day wanting me to do a Richard Nixon impression. For those of you who remember him, not a crook. So you had this blubbery sound to it. Perhaps their mouth is asymmetrical. Drew Barrymore is kind of asymmetrical when she talks, a little bit to the side. Sean Connery is another famous one. Yes, he talks from the corner of his mouth like that. So perhaps that could clue you in. Maybe they're clenched teeth. In the picture, you'd see them gritting their teeth like, or it could be Clint Eastwood, Well, was it 4 or 5 shots or 6? I don't remember. It could be something like that. So anything like that will give you guidance and that you can create from. I don't know if you know this show called Gravity Falls. The character Mabel is voiced by Kristen Shaw, and she said famously that in looking at the braces, she took some sound ideas from that because she had braces as a kid. And so when Mabel talks, she's got a little bit of a sort of a wet sound to her talk, just a little bit. And you can see that coming through in the character. So you never know what's going to inspire you like that. And then, so moving slowly over into the acting space, what about their personality can you tell by the way they're drawn? So are they smiling? Are they scowling? Do they have big energy, little energy? Are they withdrawn? Are they outgoing? Are they a little nervous? So you can get clues like that from the picture as well. And then incorporate that into their personality, in the way they talk, maybe. If they're, I don't know, what's the character from Saturday Night Live? He always is covering his mouth like that. Anyway, you get what I mean. You little tics like that you can throw in, maybe the way they breathe. They say a lot of stuff and they don't really give much chance for a breath in between, and then say a lot of more little funny stuff like that. So you could be that. It could be that they sort of a nervous laugh when they talk. Anything like that can help make the character come alive. Here's one for you. Here's a fellow. So what can you tell about his personality? Well, I kind of drew myself to his face. His face drew me to it. He's kind of sad, like, once I had many worshippers in my kingdom, but now there are only 3. And I'm not sure about one of them. And so maybe he's a little bit sad. He's got a crown. He's got armor. Once I was a famous knight, but now my sword's too small. So maybe something like that. Again, his personality. Here's a guy. He's got a lot of personality. He's right there in your face. He's telling you what. Maybe he's, hey, you come to New York, you get out of the way, okay? Hey, don't come to my neighborhood and dress like that. So maybe he's got a very in-your-face sort of approach to things. But it jumps out to me, but his personality. I mean, even his eyes are red. I mean, it really jumps out at you. Here's another one. This fellow is so happy. He is so thrilled, and these fireballs are there. So to me, this just goes, fireball! Woohoo! And like he's just so full of energy, and he's juggling the fire, and maybe he's caught himself on fire and doesn't know that. I don't know, but he's just big fun. Oh, happy to be here. Want to burn some stuff. Woohoo! That's what he says to me. And here's another one. Look at him. His eyes are big. He's looking up. It's a small child, obviously. And maybe he's, oh boy, that's the most cookies I've ever seen. Wow. So maybe he has it's just a kid's viewpoint, and a higher pitched voice probably. Some ideas. Here's some thought. What if the character is not human? I'm going to watch my time here. That could affect their voice, how they breathe, maybe additional sounds that they put in. Maybe I was cast as a sort of a snake character once, snake/lizard combo. And I had a lot of little funny voice noises like that amongst the dialogue. And it was a lot of fun. So here's some examples. Here's one. This guy is clearly he's a dragon. Huge nostrils. So maybe there's a lot of breathing in there. And so kind of you to bring me yourselves as a snack. Maybe it's that, or maybe he's I want to count my money once again. It could be that. So he's a dragon. You can factor that in, and then the breathing jumped out at me. Here's the fellow, and something that might help you is to just sort of put a little story behind the character. You see the story, you see the character, and come up with a bit of a story. This guy doesn't look happy at all. He's driving some sort of a ship, steampunky looking thing. He's got a pipe. So maybe he's just grumbling. I can't wait till I get home, eat my banana finally, instead of leaving it hanging up there. Put me down here in the basement to drive this thing. He gets all the credit. So maybe he's grumbly, maybe he's unhappy. He doesn't look terribly happy, but he looks a bit, I don't know, look a bit British to me, a bit posh, like with the top hat and the little part of his shirt with a bow tie. Let's see. Here's another one. Yeah, non-human. Large lips. This one jumped out at me with the lips. And he's a fish. He looks kind of lethargic and slow. So maybe he's just, bloop, bloop. Hello, I'm swimming around now. Boop, boop. Time for food in an hour. Whatever he's going to think, swimming around in the same tank every day. I don't know. But that's just an idea. Let's see what else we have here. So moving on from inspiration, where you get your ideas, to preparation, being prepared. So the question is, how do you come up with a character's voice? How do you create this voice? So I'll pose another question to you. How does a guitar player create a solo? Well, the answer is because they've done so many scales and so many practicing all over the years, blah, 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 blah. They don't just jump on stage having bought the guitar brand new with the price tag still on it and take a solo with a band. You have to study and learn and train. So we can do the same, whether it's voice acting, or whether it's painting, artwork, whether it's dance, whether it's acting, whatever kind of creativity space you're in, you can do the same. You take all these guitar players, famous ones, Carlos Santana, Eric Clapton, and so on. They've done all these things. They've studied, trained, and played for hours and hours and hours. As a voice actor, or whatever your space you work in is, you can do the same things. Training, study, practice, practice, practice. I mentioned my friend Isabella earlier. She's on here. She's an artist. She's probably drawn so many things. And the rest of you who are creatives can relate to that the same way, I'm sure. You got to practice. So strategies for preparation. I'm going to go with a library and a toolkit. So from a voice actor's perspective, building a character library in advance. So you have a whole deck of characters. You can flip through there and go, oh, you want a big bombastic voice? Boom, I've got it. You want a small child? Boom, I've got that. So you can build them ahead of time, practice them, and that way when you need that character or some version of it, you can just pull it out and you're ready to go. If you're beginning this process, that's okay. Start with one and just build it from there. And you can do the same thing with guitar licks. Just learn one. Boom, 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 boom. And so you start with that one. Okay. Everybody knows that one. A lot of people from a certain generation anyway know that one. And I see grinning John. I guess you got me. Thank you. And go from there. Start with one and go. and go back and freshen them up periodically. Go back and try them out again. Maybe you learn something along the way that can help you improve the voice, and also it helps you keep it fresh. So let's give you an example of an old man voice. So in the U.S., there was an actor called Walter Brennan, and he was on a show called The Real McCoys, and he was in a number of things. And he talked kind of like this. Yeah. Well, that was sort of my go-to old man voice for a while. And turns out he was in the military and got hit with mustard gas in Europe in the war. And that's what caused his voice to be kind of funny like that. Not wanting to go that route myself, I decided to go a different route. So if you take your standard voice and you want it to be a little higher pitched, so it's your standard voice, but maybe you put it a little higher pitched. It's a little higher like that. You're still in your normal voice, but higher. And then if you put a little gravel on that, so it's a little higher, but you put some gravel in there, but it's higher and gravel. You got the higher and the gravel together like that. And then you, for me, bring it back in my throat a little bit and put a little roundness to it, and you get that sort of a now it's a bit more of a Western prospector voice. So you can step by step build the voice that you want. Okay, so where do you find voices? Just listen around to you. Listen around on television, in movies, YouTube videos, people that you meet in your everyday life. The guy at the chip shop, or you've got somebody who comes to your door trying to sell you something and they have a funny thing about their voice. So just listen and see what strikes you as interesting or useful that you might be able to incorporate later on. And then borrow. So what makes it stand out to you? Is it a funny way that they talked and they're like they would do this and then and say something more than and so maybe you throw that into a character, or maybe it's a different dialect, or maybe someone whose native language is something different than yours. So the way that they speak your language is going to be different. So for let's see. So perhaps they're French people. They speak quite different than we do, eh? Even those who speak the same language but with a different take on it. You got the Irish have a bit of a musical sound to the way they talk, and then there's Northern Irish as well, and you've got all sorts of flavors across the UK, deep Scots stuff up in the north down to maybe even Cornwall, piratey sounding over on the southwest of England. So listen and see what jumps out at you. And then try it. Can you duplicate it? Maybe not fully. Maybe you can just take something from it that helps you create a voice. Listening. Got to be able to hear those things, right? Okay. Wow. Okay. So here's an example. This is one of the voice actors from The Simpsons, Hank Azaria, and he has famously said these guys are sort of based on other voices that he knew, like Ricky Ricardo. He uses for the doctor there. And the guy in the bottom middle row was a neighbor of his in college. He said he would just sit in a Barcalounger and go, "Yep, you made the list." And he sort of took that voice and built it into the comic book guy. And then Sylvester Stallone is that, cop voice. As he says, not a great impression of Stallone, but that's where he got inspired from. And then preparation. So be flexible. The more prepared you are, the more solid your basic characters are, the more you can be versatile with that. And if the director says, "That's good, but can you give me a little bit older?" Or "That's great, but can you add in a bit of a Cockney?" Or whatever they want to say, you can respond to that input very, very, very well. So build your toolkit. And they take work to maintain. So your voice toolkit could be accents and dialects in different range of voices, could be different genders. Oftentimes you'll see women voicing animated characters that are young boys. Famously, Nancy Cartwright voices Bart Simpson. And I don't do young female voices. I can do an older female voice. Okay, I think I'm fine with that. As long as the voice is what the director needs or the character calls for, fantastic. Speech patterns. Where do you uh, where do you put the voice in your head? It could be out in the front of the lips, right? And it could be back in your voice like that. Very, very rough. um, Indian is also kind of back for me. Or yes, 529 at the Quickie Mart. So that all that feels very back in my throat. So front to back, also up and down as well. Head voice, chest voice. And then acting, of course, is such a big part of it. There's voice and acting, voice acting. So emotional content, imagining where you are, who you're talking to, the ability to improv, all of that is so, so important, as well as the vocal techniques. Get some coaching, whether that's voice acting or whether that is musicianship, whether that's painting, sound engineer in a studio, whatever your role is, get some coaching and let it be an investment for you. So you're investing in yourself. It's important, I think, to find coaches who resonate with you and also coaches who have the knowledge that you need. I was in one of many voice acting groups a while back, and one of the guys posts in there, I'm looking for a dialect coach. Okay, that's great, but what dialect are you trying to learn? What are you trying to pick up? You need somebody who can teach you that. If you want to learn to be a mechanic on vehicles, and you want to learn about, I don't know, Toyotas and Nissan and, Japanese cars, don't go to a Mercedes guy. Don't go to a person who works on motorcycles. They may be able to teach you some things, but they're not going to be able to teach you what you're after, like you really need to. So look for the expertise that you're looking for. So they say that business success is location, location, location. So in our case, we're going to say locution, locution, locution. For any Spanish speakers in the crowd, that's locutor is the same as digressing. Right. So practice, practice, practice. That's where we need to go. So Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So prepare, train, study, practice, go back and study and practice again. So when opportunity knocks, you can answer the door. So how do we maintain character? I'm going to brush through this kind of quickly because we're pushed for time. And Natalie's going to help me keep on track. Thank you, Natalie. So how do you maintain the voice? So I would say, look to see what keyed you to the voice to begin with. Was it something about the picture? Was it a certain sound or a certain phrase? Some people with dialects, people who speak with a lot of different dialects or in certain characters have a key phrase that they use to get into the character or get into the dialect. So if you can find one of those that works for you, like let's take Scottish, for example. For me, it's just right, and I'm in. But you may want something longer than that. You may want, that takes a real man to wear a kilt, Sonny Jim. So, if you put something like that speaks to you, that helps you get in the accent, that's like an anchor point that you can come back to. If you feel yourself drifting, come back to that. When I was working on Australian, for example, I kept drifting over into Cockney and vice versa. The two are, to me, they sound very similar. So you have to really be very careful to divide the two. So Australian has this funny no, just for saying no, it's no. In some Australian accents, maybe not all of them. I don't know if we have any Aussies on the call, but anyway, something like that can help you swing back in the direction that you need to. For Cockney, for me, it's the sound of the bells, that little W sound for the L, like the trailing L at the end of a word, like bell, instead of bell with an L, it's bell. Together, so the V instead of an F, those sort of sounds make Cockney clicking for me. Here's another one. This is physicality. So we talked about mouth posture before. If you adopt that mouth posture, like The French one for me is Louise Altier. So if you put yourself in a physical position, it helps you remember, it helps you key into those accents or the characters. So the character may have a kind of a scrunched up face, like, I'm going to get you, get back here, or something like that. You can do that physically and helps you stay in the character. Anchor. Anchor is a visual. It helps you anchor the character. The more the character is real for you, the easier it will be to stay in the voice. And the more solid the voice is for you, the easier it will be to act within the voice. So you're not worried about maintaining the voice. It's more natural, it's more relaxed, and you can do more, you have more freedom to act. And last but not least, don't forget your voice. Your voice is very cool, and there's many, many shades of that. Even in your own life, there's times when you're angry, times when you're sad, times when you're happy, times when you're just sort of blah, neutral. So all over the place, within your own voice, there are lots of characters that you can draw on. Here's a few ideas and tips I'll throw out to save us a bit of time for the end. Don't be afraid to move around, but stay on the mic. So if the microphone's in front of you and you're moving around like this all over the place, that's going to change how the mic hears and picks up your voice. So the engineer on the other side of the glass is going to be driving them crazy with that, because this is going to be one volume, that's another volume, that's another volume, that's another volume. So it's going to drive them nuts. So stay on the mic, and then watch out for things like clothes that scrape when you rub them, or bangly jewelry, or things like that. And then last but not least, you're in a vocal booth, so who's going to see you? Who cares? Have a good time with it. Let's see. And be big. Be yourself, be large, acting. So you can always come back from that, but if you go partway there, the director's never going to know that you can go full on, and they may just scratch you and get somebody else in there. Protect your voice. Be careful. Just like anybody who has repetitive, like playing a guitar a lot, you may wear out the tips of your fingers. Drawing a lot, you may get carpal tunnel syndrome, or issues with your hand. If you have rough things to record, try to put them at the last, so everything else is not harmed by that. One of the games I was in, one of my characters had to die eaten by a dinosaur, so I had to have a lot of screams and things like that. And I just asked them, hey, let's put that at the end if you don't mind, and they were totally cool with it, and no problem. Let's see. The terminology and the etiquette of your space that you're working in. Here's a few resources. IDEA is a great place to look for dialects. The second one is kind of cool no matter what field you're in. It's a worldwide radio. So it has a globe. You can go all over the globe clicking on different points, and it brings up streaming radio from that area. It is very cool. And if you go looking around in there, set aside some time, because you'll probably enjoy it. And then some terminology about voiceover. If you're working with voiceover folks, or if you're in that space or interested in that space, there's a few terms you might want to look at. Want to give some credit to the artists who volunteered their artwork for me to use today. Lucas Ryan, Andrew Duncan, Tennille Chandler, and Isabella Perley. Isabella, who joined us today, thank you again for joining. And it was used with their permission. Here's their contact information if you want to reach out to them. The presentation and the artwork are all rights reserved. We have now, for the last 5 or 10 minutes maybe, a voice creation exercise. So you guys get a chance to try it out. And we have a whole bunch of characters to pick from, and I would like to ask for volunteers for somebody who would like to give it a try.
Also, Ian, when you get a chance, somebody just asked for your LinkedIn URL, and if you could copy and paste the URLs of the resources in the chat.
Okay, sure, no problem.
At any point, yeah.
Yeah, why don't if you'll gather up some volunteers. I will try to go back and grab those and do that now. We'll save some time. Whoops.
Who wants to participate in the voice exercise?
Don't be shy. I'll talk you through it.
I'll make sure that you can unmute yourselves as well. Okay. You should be able to. Okay. Rachel said she'd give it a try.
All right, Rachel.
All right.
And Zimmy's turn.
Did we okay. Sorry, do I just pick one?
Well, we absolutely can. Do you have a camera that would help? Probably.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
All right, Rachel. If one jumps out at you, great. If not, I can just grab one.
Oh boy. It's like, should it be daring or?
Anything you like. We have human, non-human, different age ranges.
I'm not too sure. Why don't you give it a shot? Surprise me.
All right. This one.
Foxy lady.
Yeah. What does she say to you? What's her backstory, or what is she? Any personality?
Well, I note it looks like she certainly cares about being in shape. So she seems like somebody who might have the personality to overcome something by working hard. But she's also got that feather in her cap and that tilt to her smile. So she could be clever. Yeah. And you don't know what she's hiding. And she's also a little sexy, right? She's a pirate in male gear, and if we're basing it on our history, there's not a lot of well-known female famous pirates. True. So she's got probably some ego to that. Her hips are to the side, so she's probably got some swagger. She looks like she has a good upright position, so I imagine if I was doing it, I would want to do the same thing. Maybe she's got a little slide to her voice.
Very good.
She's a fox, it looks like. So.
Could be, absolutely. And just for fun, then, instead of trying to come up with dialogue, let's just say what you had for lunch, or what you had for breakfast.
Kind of in her voice. Didn't have breakfast this morning, but I had something nice and sweet instead.
Oh, baby! All right, very nice. Cool. All right. See, and that was completely out of you. You came up with every bit of that. That's fantastic.
Cool. Right. That's fun. Thanks.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Thank you. Who would like to go next?
I think John wanted to try, right?
John. All right, John. Jump in the pool.
Okay, I will give it a shot. Why not? Hey, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm already in character. Wow.
Any of these guys jump out at you?
I'll try to rein it in. No, I mean, they're all pretty wacky here. I liked your forlorn former superhero guy, Skeletor, here with the muscles.
This guy?
I don't know why he resonated with me.
All right. Well, you heard my take on him. What is his story to you? What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of went with. Yeah, I hate to be a copycat, but yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I felt like maybe that he once was really a force to be reckoned with, and now maybe not so much. He's he's longing for the old days.
Okay.
A lot of us really are.
And what does his voice sound like to you?
I don't know why. I'm imagining kind of a British accent. Why? I don't know. Why. Oh yes, I remember those days quite well. I don't know. I'm kind of going with not Richard Harris, but who is the prominent British actor in the 70s? Was married to Elizabeth Taylor. That guy.
Richard Burton.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm kind of going that direction with him.
Okay, well,
I can't do Richard Burton to save my life. Oh, I had some avocado toast this morning. It was quite delightful. Reminds me of the time that we had. I don't know.
Yeah, that's great.
Give me a line.
Well done. Very good. Excellent. Okay.
Thanks.
Very nice, nicely done. And the British take was very nice. Bit of
Yeah.
avocado toast this morning. Reminds me
Oh,
of
did
it.
you know? Oh, that's lovely.
Yes, right.
Well, maybe we can get together. I do long for companionship. Okay, goodbye.
Very good. All right. Well, let's jump and give somebody else a try. Thank you, John. Okay, don't be shy. We've got a couple of minutes left. It's
I can go.
Bella.
Yeah.
Yes, let's get you. What would you
let's
like to
do
give a
it.
shot?
Okay. So I'm gonna do I don't know why, but I kind of resonate with the bee. Down at the
Okay.
I don't know.
Sure.
Something about it. So just looking at him, he seems kind of like just quirky bee who's like
Yeah.
maybe just because like they gave him like sneakers and stuff, so he's like maybe he's just very laid back kind of bee or something, quirky laid back bee. So I don't know. Oh, and we're like saying like what they had for lunch or something.
Yeah, just to
Okay.
give us something neutral to talk about. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. My context for him is he's just got off like his job and he's like in the lunchroom or the break room or something. It's like buzz, my man. I just got here's my. I'm gonna get some honey. What's up? You know, like maybe like higher though. So like maybe he's almost like up here. So he's like buzz, my man. Here's some honey. You want something else? Something like that. Like, I don't know. Just like the quirky factor is like, hey, I'm a bee. What's up? So
yeah, I'm a bee. Gonna get some honey. Yeah, that's great. There's a little California flavor in the higher voice too, I heard.
I think so. I don't know anything about dialects, but but yeah, that's kind of like, hey, I'm a bee. Nice to meet you. But yep, that would be my voice for him, I think.
Yeah, very cool. And the artist who did this guy is a little bit quirky also, so that kind of fits. Nicely done.
Yeah, I was gonna say, John, I loved the voice. That was actually my character that you voiced, and I loved that voice for him. So, love it. Just yes.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, very good. Thank you, Isabella. We probably have time. What do you think, Natalie? One more, maybe two more?
I think we could do like one more.
One more? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. One more stalwart volunteer out there. Come on down. No, nobody else? Natalie, want to give it a try?
Oh, I don't know. Somebody else could.
Somebody else could? Okay. All right. Anybody? Who else? Oh, Yolanda. Okay. Please come on in. Let's see. You're still muted, though. Oh, there you are.
I'm not an actress or anything, but hey, you know what? Getting out of my comfort zone here. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. Stretch yourself. Do you have a character that jumps out at you, or should I grab one?
Yeah, I kind of like the little doggy with the reindeer ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
Guy. He's happy. He's definitely waiting, I don't know, for presents or just ready to party. I'm from Latin America, so for me, I thought he's just ready to join the party. So
yeah,
that's why he resonated with me. And his eyes are shiny and glimmery, and you know.
Yeah, fantastic.
Judging with what you said of dogs, so the tongue and all that. So I mean, I don't know. Can I just make up something? I don't even know.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a bit of take on his personality and kind of where he's coming from and what his situation. So you've got a lot of things to work with there. What might he sound like? He's got the tongue. You mentioned that.
So I think he's young. I don't think he's very old. I think he's maybe he's young. So he may sound like, yes, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. Yes. What do you mean it's not Christmas? Of course it's Christmas. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Nice, very nice, very nice. And you created a story as well. Well, what do you mean it's not Christmas? Yeah. So well done, very well done. Is there anybody in the group that is actually a voice actor, or are you guys all stepping out of your comfort zone?
We're brave.
Brave. All right. Well, very good.
I did voiceovers like in a previous life, but I was in radio and I was a producer, and then whenever they needed a character voice, they usually called me for whatever reason. I guess because I was always like planning around. Hey, he does Bullwinkle. Why not? But I was looking to get back into it again, but I don't know how. I have no idea. I want to do it kind of as a side hustle thing, and I just really enjoy it, but don't know how. Do you have any resources that you would recommend?
Yes. Why don't we take it offline since we're probably out of time? Just grab my email address there, if you don't mind, and drop me a note, and I'll try to connect you up with some folks.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Where are you located?
I'm near Dallas.
Dallas,
in Texas. So I try not to let that show too much. I'm from Dallas.
Well, I'm from Atlanta, so I'm kind of right there with you.
You are. I live in Atlanta.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. Small world. I was going to mention, John, I had a UK client send me a script for a company in Texas. They wanted me to record some stuff for their business. And they said, we need a Texas accent. And I said, well, okay. What exactly do they mean by this? I mean, you can go full over the top. You can just sort of give a flavor to it.
Larry the Cable Guy or whatever, yeah.
But I got nothing more. So I gave him really heavy, big old over to the top, big, loud, and broad. And I gave him a light version of that. And I gave him a big old hat, absolutely, and boots. And I gave him a generic American voice to compare it to. And I sent all that in, and it said later, which one did you prefer? Because I couldn't tell by the direction. And they said, well, we just used the American one that you sent for reference. Okay. It said Texas. Well, but if we say Texas, we mean American.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now I know.
Yeah.
So you never know things like that.
I was in England and told them I was from Texas. There I go again. And I said, do I sound like it? Because I didn't think I did, because I've grown up all different places. And he was like, oh yeah, totally. Totally Texas. I'm like, oh, okay.
Now, some of that's all perspective too. Like for us, we might hear something and go, oh, that's, for an American, they might say, oh, that's a British accent. But a Brit might hear that and go, oh no, that is Cornwall, or that is Brummie. Right. That's a Scouse accent, or no, that's way up in Newcastle or something. So we don't necessarily hear the differences. So it's all relative. So anyway, so I learned my lesson with this company. If they say Texas, it means American. Very good. And Yolanda, if you want to connect up as well, grab my info there. That's totally cool. Anybody else as well, I'll help you if I can. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say, if you hear of voice needs, to let me know as well. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for creativity and inspiration and that kind of thing. But don't forget about your old pal if the situation comes up.